Welcome everybody to another exciting episode of the Belvista Studios Show. This one's going to be epic. I know there's been a lot of chatter and excitement around the particular piece of work that we are about to have a look at. And my guest today is Teresa. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So
I'm excited.
I'm excited as well. So the intention of the Belvista Studio Show is to see great pieces of work that are inspiring people and find out how they make it, so we can basically expose the industry to good examples of learning or e-learning, and then help us upskill and create better learning experiences, better world through this learning experiences that we do. And I think I'd love to start. I do want to start saying that you have shared that this. Okay, so first of all, actually, I'll tell the journey. This came up in our Facebook group we have the focus in there as like inspirational examples that people are seeing. So it came up there and visually beautiful. Second part of it, when I looked through it, beyond the visual, I went into kind of skimming through the content. And when I scanned through the content, I was like, this person knows good instructional design too. And I could make out your process. I could understand like that you'd identified need to know, not nice to know, how you had used many things that people talk about in terms of like putting small snippets, how do you present the information, what is actually useful, what should you care about. So just your instructional design process was really apparent to me. And I was like, that's really cool, because you don't see a lot of people's instructional design work out there. So now you've just shared with me before the recording that this was a portfolio piece that you put together. So I am so impressed with the visual design and the instructional design of this piece of work, and the effort that you've gone for with your portfolio piece. And I'd love to know, like, what is your mindset around a portfolio before we get in and see this wonderful piece of work?
Yes, well, I think for me it was important to have projects that not only show my development skills, like I can work with the tools and I have visual design foundations and so on, but also to show my instructional design skills and to present something that is actually useful, like to have examples that can stand by themselves, like everybody can go through this piece and really have a learning experience through it.
Absolutely.
So I think when you create, because I didn't want to have just like a portfolio piece, but it was important to me to have a project for an audience. So all the examples I have in my portfolio, which are not many, I only have 3, but those are really learning experiences designed with an audience in mind.
Amazing.
And as I said, I could just have these experiences and without showcasing them with the process and so on in the portfolio, and they can live by themselves, they can be shared, and people can, like everybody can go through it and just experience this just have this learning experience. So I think for people trying to create a portfolio, and that can be a good input, I guess. Like just try to create something that is not only useful for you, and like because you have a goal when you are creating, like you want to speak to hiring managers or clients, or but try to think beyond that and really create something that can be that can add value to someone out there by itself.
So, do you know what, that actually captures how I felt doing your course, is that I thought this had been created for a real organization or a real audience, and I was going, like if I wanted to learn about this is useful to me, this adds value to my life, this makes the learning experience worthwhile. And I think you've done that very well. And how you've described it is, think about they're going to spend time looking at it, add value, think about them. And yeah, you've got the hiring manager kind of playing out, and the L&D or the HR manager that might review it, but who's going to take it and how can you change their life? And I love that that's the philosophy that you have for this portfolio piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's not just a portfolio. I think like it's important that you're making
like it's a project that can be a portfolio piece, but it is at the beginning it is a project.
Yeah, you could sell that as a course on to people.
That's cool. or share it, like it's been shared, and I have most of the feedback I got is from other learning designers, but I also got feedback from people really like they are not IDs or they are not ELXs, and they just went through the experience and have written something like, oh, that was actually inspiring, or oh, and that's fun, because I think then you are really creating something, because at the end of the day, is your goal as an ID, right? Like you want to change someone, like this is I would
amazing
for better. So I think, yeah, I'm happy. I have it's work for me. So
that's cool. All right, we've built it up. You better share your screen now. People are like, where is this magnificent thing?
Yes, to find the right window.
Cool.
I hope you all can see it.
Yeah, so we're looking at your RISE healthy debate culture at work.
Yes. So I'm gonna hit preview.
Cool.
And just go through here. Well, so you have here a short introduction. And then, well, maybe before we skim through it, it is a learning experience based on storytelling and scenarios. So you actually said at the beginning, as you can see, like you said, you put the setting there, right? Like you put the person in a setting, and everything what is going to come after that is just developing this setting and developing this story, right? So they are the whole time involved in this scenario, and yeah.
And the great way, like a simple way to achieve it, which is literally the first word there, is you are X.
Yes. Yeah. So right, like you start putting the person in a situation, and also you are going to see like the whole visuals are supporting this narrative. Like they are all the same visuals, in showing different scenes, and just supporting, like making you feel that is your team, because it is about this learning experience is about getting better at giving and receiving feedback, and getting better in disagreeing and debating. So when you you learn to debate and to disagree in a productive way, so that you can find solutions for your team, for your company. So and well, you see there's a lot of white space and visuals, just because the visuals the situation you are presenting to the user. So I hope you can see.
Yeah, we're following.
Okay. So yeah, so here you have your team, and you see you have a short profile of everybody, because later you are going to have situations with these people, so you have to kind of remember why are these people acting the way they are. So you have the background information about it. And well, so you say you will have some important and challenging conversations. Are you ready to manage them? And then you say, sure, let's start. And well, then again, you show the situation, you present the situation, and you have here people talking, speaking, sharing their mind. And then you have the decision you have to make, how to react to this, to this situation. And then you get feedback, right? Like, okay. And then you get a like, it's not like that's wrong, but then you get the reaction to that, to your action, or the consequence. And well, you can try again. And again, you get feedback and about how the situation went, and what the consequence was, so people can have a feeling for the consequences of their actions.
Yeah.
And then you have a little of information, right? But put it just as much as is needed to make a point, and to make the point you are trying to make with the user. And you will see through the through the learning experience that it kind of follow the same structure. Like you always have a situation.
Yeah.
Then you have an input, like the information you want, the message you want to deliver, the point you want to make with the user. Then you're always going to have a quote from a important and inspiring person.
Yeah.
And then you have an option to reflect on with reflective questions. Because I think reflective writing is very useful. So give people the time to really reflect and try to digest what they've done before going before continuing. So yeah.
Cool. Before you move on, I've just picked up some of the things that you've done that I think are really well. I'd like to summarize them for people as like almost like a reflection point now. So what you've mentioned is, and what you've shown and demonstrated in your work so far, is you are storytelling, and you're supporting your storytelling through visuals. You are using YOU to put the person in that first person decision making perspective, and kind of giving or creating accountability for them in what they're learning. The buttons, you'll notice it's not next or back, it's more action focused. So for example, one of them was labeled, sure, let's start. The decisions in your scenario are literally real world. They are, what should you say? And it is exact sentences. So you're really helping people determine which is the best, and why might this one be better than the other options that are there. So that's where you get that cognitive thinking happening. The other thing that is real world is your feedback. It's like, I can't remember the names in that, but it's like, she's pretty chill about this, it's okay. Or Jonathan was aggravated by XYZ behavior. Wonder what that's about. So very like real world, and that's what it is. That's effective learning, when you're replicating your decisions, your feedback based on that. And what I also love, the last thing that I've observed so far, is that you've just jumped straight into the scenario. So there's not a lot of information up front. It's just like, you're here to learn, go do it, fail, it's okay. You're going to get feedback. We'll get you there in the end anyway. So I love that it's just very much get in, get it done. and now we're reinforcing, creating that opportunity for reflection. So they're the beautiful things that I've observed so far.
Yes, yes, I think it is that's one of the main points, is that just try to put the people, try to confront from the beginning, you know, without without a long introduction. Just give people the opportunity to jump in, and and to see and to be surprised, because, you know, like they just jump in. Oh, okay, I am here, I am this person, here's my team. I'm gonna have difficult conversations. Okay, it's going to be unpleasant maybe for me. Let's see. And then you have the situation and you have to react.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get your reaction and you get the consequence. And as you said, it is like the whole time it is like the scenario is there, you know, like it is emulating a really real situation at work. Like you have your colleagues, and now he's getting he's getting upset, or she feels frustrated because you said that. And I think that's the point. And through the learning experience, people are going to have the opportunity, or maybe you can give people the opportunity to pause and reflect, and like, okay, maybe they just get through it like quick, and they realize, oh, hold on, that was not the best reaction, or the reaction I was expecting. Let's try again. Let's see what happened here. Now I'm going to read more carefully and really like try to get immersed in the situation, right? And I think at some point you are going to have people there where you want, you know, you just have to.
Yeah, you're creating curiosity almost, I reckon.
Yes.
It's like games. Oh, they want to play again. I want to see what might happen if I said this thing. I think that's
right.
What's cool.
Just to see what could happen, right? Like even if you have the right answer, or I don't like talking about right and wrong answers, but even if you have a positive reaction, you want to see what are the other ones, right?
Yeah.
Very
cool.
So it's pretty much as I said, like I think it is pretty much the same structure. And I think that it's also important for me, because I've learned that through consistency, you can bring a flow to the experience, right? Like if people get, it is good to have moments of delight, and it is good to have moments of surprise, or, you know, like something fun, or something that you weren't expecting coming out. But I think it is important, like, to have a structure, like people just know and it flows, you know, because they know what is coming. And I'm just gonna go a little faster through it. And yeah, so as you see here again, you have an input, but it is always the visuals are always supporting what you are trying to, the message that you are trying to deliver.
Yeah.
And well, of course I use all the try to use all the interactions possibilities from Rise.
Nice, very good.
And yeah,
even that is an interesting challenge, you know, because you don't want to create something that is interactive just for the sake of interaction. And in your portfolio, this project piece that you developed, you're trying to develop capability, or sorry, demonstrate your capability in the tool. But then it's an interesting challenge to have purposeful interaction or interactivity with linking the content to the interaction. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so I don't know.
you have to get it right to continue?
No, you don't. I guess. um, yeah, so as I said, so even the quote, they are not like, oh, I need to find a nice quote, just like to have quotes, but they're really the giving input for the reflections.
Yeah.
And for the questions that we are trying to put people think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And then I have so short things that each image here has also a short sentence, like also trying to keep in the mood, you know, like, and like here, grab a cup of coffee and take time to write your thoughts. Like, just, hey, why not? Just take the time now. You are going through it.
Yeah.
Just take the time for yourself and just to drink a coffee and think about it.
Yeah, I agree. And I love you've got the reflection prompts there as well. So it is important.
So yes, and of course, as you say, you when with a portfolio piece, you want to show people your that you have these technical skills with the tool, you know. So, but I think each time you want to bring out interaction, try to think, try to relate that to the whole, you know, like,
I think a good accountability question I'd say for people designing is, what is the intent of me doing it this way? And that might hold you accountable to make sure that it adds value to someone's life or is used for the right reason. Or even when you think about content, what is the intent of putting this TED talk in there? That really helps you align things to your learning objectives, for example, or should that even be in there in the first place?
Yes, and I think, again, like I could have, like I read a lot of articles for, you know, as I was writing the script and so on. But at the end, you have really to put enough, take enough just to make people think, you know. But I don't know, you can, even you said it at the beginning, I think what is nice to have, you know, and what is a must have, because it is important to your goal. And so
is that, how did you decide that? If you've read a lot of articles, how did you decide what was holding you accountable to put whatever ended up in your course in there?
Well, I've been working with the action mapping approach.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right. So before doing that, I have to say this is one attempt, because I read the book last year, and then I was just like attempting to do something, you know.
Yeah.
And I have created I have identified the actions, and then I thought, once I have the actions I want people to perform, and how I would like to move people to perform, I just selected things that are supporting this, you know. And if it is not, like, okay, this is supporting this to this point, and that is all, we don't need more than that. Even if the other things are interesting and you want to say a lot, right? Like sometimes you come in this trap of wanting to say a lot, because you are also excited about what you are reading or creating or even learning, because you learn a lot, right, in the process as an instructional designer as well. But just like it's not about you, but it is about your your audience, and it is about these actions, like the audience and the actions together.
Yeah.
And you have to try to bring everything through this filter. And yeah,
I
so
agree.
and for me, because this is meant to it aims to reach young people, like young professionals, and it is meant to be presented to people during the onboarding phase. And so for me, because this is meant for young professionals, it is also important that it has a flow, that it goes to the point, because I want people to stay here and not switch to I don't know, to social media or to anything else, right? Like, okay, this is going like boom, you are getting the situations and the input, and but it flows, right? Because I think it is for my audience. I thought it was important. And yeah, so at the end, again, you have the opportunity to download resources and that kind of summarize and support this reflective process you have gone through with this experience. And again, the resources. Oh, I have to, but I think I have to. I can show you now how it looks like. But one important, maybe for people, I don't know if you know this tool. I hope it works. I realize I have to go there. Is this Future Me? Do you know that?
I haven't, but I love this idea.
Okay, so because at the end you want to have measurable something to measure, and one thing for people to reflect about their learning experience, and like to accompany them even though they have went through the experience, right? But it should be something that is sustainable, so people can maybe in 6 months, or I don't know, in 1 year, you want to try to make people remember that they've gone through the experience and that they have had some takeaways.
Yeah.
And this is a very nice tool. It's called Future Me, and you can write a letter to you and just an email, and just choose when do you want to have this, and choose a date and write something about your experience and your takeaways and I don't know, your learning, and just send it. And maybe people are going to get this email when they are in a situation when they need it, like when they need to be reminded about it. So
I love it.
I love that. Yeah. And for me, it was like from the instructional design perspective, it was important to have some kind of follow-up, because it doesn't end with people going through the experience and closing the window, right? But it has to be sustainable. So and
another idea, actually, just on that, to give some ideas for other people, is I remember we had another previous project many years ago. We, at the end of a face-to-face workshop, we created a similar thing, but it was a postcard, and people could pick the postcard, and on it had things that resonated, actions for myself, and it actually went, and things I'd like my supervisor to provide opportunity on, so I can put these learnings into action. And that postcard was given to the supervisors, and then that encouraged a supervisor and employee chat about 3 weeks after the learning event that they attended. So that's something else, just a similar thing, that accountability, trying to embed it and having a post-learning experience. And we also wanted that conversation to happen. So yeah.
Yes, because I think it is important, right? Like you always have to think that it has to be something to follow up. Like and in this case, I thought this tool could be a good opportunity, just like to remind people about the experience. And I am going to move this here and hope this. So, and these are the resources should be like here you have again the quotes, and people can download the quotes, and you have these principles, like they can just like print this and have it
yeah, beautiful.
by them. And again, here you have the questions again, so like people maybe they and following again, like here you have this character, like always trying to follow this visual narrative that you have created.
Yeah, you're making a connection between the resources. These resources are part of the module, which is really nice.
Yeah, like I think you have to, if you can, like you have to brand your learning experiences, right? Like this is kind of okay, it is like the branding, the colors are there, the imagery is there, and you're that makes also, I think, makes it more memorable for people.
Yeah. One thing I'm curious, it might be the same for you in how you, like people might be thinking, how did you create these resources, specifically the text that ends up on them? With our process, it's like when you do a module, the learning content, what ends up in there, a lot of the time you can just copy and paste text from that because you've done the work, and then that gets turned into supporting resources. You're showing some of the supporting resources at the moment, other ones that they might be like, you have the training module, the training content, and then it could support an e-learning, or sorry, an email series from the perspective of a manager or an employee that says, this is why it's important, these are the actions you need to take, and here's where the support lies. That might also be like language that's used on a tip sheet like you've got. It could be something like Yammer posts, where you've got a visual. Yammer is like a social media a lot of the time in workplaces, or Facebook would be something similar, where you can have that image visual, like, do you want to have less friction in, you know, or a healthy debate in your team? And then you're literally, the caption of that post is something from the e-learning, but it's capturing and building a learning culture and also reinforcing the learning outside of the module. It's coming at them from many avenues. Is that how you find when you like develop the training content, and then it allows you to create all these supporting resources quite simply as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've been here, I've been listening, like not when I created this, but I've been listening to a very interesting podcast that's called Marketing for Learning.
Okay.
And I think that it has made me think about how important it is to have the whole picture as you describe, right? When you are creating something, like, okay, here is the module. And I think one of the problems is that everything, you have a lot of resources, and you have created something that is that you think that can really reach people, but sometimes you are just thinking in this frame, you know, like you are not going outside of it. And I've been learning for myself to think further. As I said, okay, I knew as I created this, I knew that there has been some follow-up resources that you can, and when people click the close button or but download a certificate, or I don't know, right? Like you have to go further. But what I've been learning this year as well is that it has to go beyond of that. Like it has to be an ecosystem, right?
Yeah,
you have to create an ecosystem, because that's why you are describing. You are kind of saying, okay, here we have different parts, and we have to, and different, maybe also different environments, and we have to try to make an ecosystem of all these environments. And I don't think it has to be difficult, but it can be just trying to put an input and a resource, because I've also learned resources are only useful if they are accessible. So you have to try to put them you have to remove all the barriers, and sometimes logging into the LMS, I don't know, those are barriers, and you have to try to remove that and see where are the resources, where do I need the resources to be, so people can profit from them and really use them. So yeah,
that's a really good point. I think I love the ecosystem idea, and I think that's how you change behavior. And this is not the gold like response, but just thinking in the moment how we as learning designers can start holding ourselves accountable to consider it in our instructional design process. What's coming up for me is how might the employee, or sorry, the learner, the user, experience this before they see my training, during my training, and after. So then we have a journey. And then maybe you use the language environment. Where are they going to experience it? Is it something they're doing on a mobile device? And where do they use that mobile device in their workplace? Is it literally they have it out on site, or do they have no access because they drive? Or even actually, I just think about where they're going to, what is happening in their workplace. For example, aged care and carers in there, a lot of the time they don't have access to any devices. So how can you support them before, during, and after if they're not going to have access to a PC to do e-learning or a mobile phone? But where do they spend their time? They might spend their time in a lunch hall or next to where they clock in and out of their shift. Is there an opportunity to put a poster there that has one of these resources? So it's, like you say, not hiding in an LMS, but they're available to support and reinforce the behavior change. So maybe there's some things to ask ourselves as we design our ecosystems.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the why. Right? When you know the why are you doing this, and so then you can take all those things into consideration, right? Because you're asking yourself like why and how and what for and so on, and just don't try to constrain everything to the LMS or to people and devices. But as you say, like what are all because you're thinking of them, you are thinking of the user, and where is this person? As you said, I think it's the most time, right? Like where can I reach this person best?
Yes, I love that. Where can I reach this person best? That is fantastic. That's good empathy for the people that are actually going to do our learning.
Yes. Good. I don't know, because people have been asking how did I create, like, do you want to see the backend?
I'd love to. I think people will really enjoy it.
So as you see, it is a lot of images. Most of them full width.
So that one, the full width one with the curve, is literally, it's actually a rectangle in Rise, but that it gives the illusion of a curve. Hey, it is
yes, it is an image in full width, and I have created the image using, I think it was in Photoshop, but I was experimenting yesterday with PowerPoint as well. And you can create all of these resources in PowerPoint. So you don't have to be afraid of not feeling confident with the Adobe Cloud or other resources. Fantastic. And my follow-up resources, I made it with Canva. So which is also very user-friendly and accessible. And yeah, so I think when you have your concept, you don't have to go and use the big tools, but you can stick to what you have.
Yeah.
And if you have PowerPoint, then you can do it with PowerPoint as well.
Amazing. No excuses is what I'm hearing.
Yes, there's no, yes, you have no excuses. And I think one important thing for having this flow, like the background, it's always it's like just like a one layout, right?
Yeah.
Like it is important just to have no padding when you are in your settings, when you have your images.
Good one. Yeah.
Otherwise, you are going to have kind of breaks.
Yeah.
Between images. This is an interactive, a labeled graphic. So using the hotspots.
When you were figuring out, for example, the size of that labeled graphic, did you have to import it a couple of times to get the sizing right, or how did you figure that out?
Yes, I had to play a little bit with it. For example, here for this header, like for this Your Team banner, I had to find out how does it look on the screen. But I think if you go with the standard full let's call like HD images now, which is I think 1980, 1080,
yeah,
1920, yes. Like then it is going to be enough, and then you have to maybe crop the image to find the right size.
Yeah,
like
cool.
But I think at the beginning you have to play a little bit.
Yeah.
It depends what if you have your ideas and how it has to look like. Yeah. Then you have to play a little bit, but it's really not difficult once you have this full width, this standard size. You can import them and then just crop them here in Rise, and you have to think. I think one important thing is you have to always label. I learned this from Amanda. I mean, Amanda inspired me. Amanda Nguyen inspired me because she has a video also showing how you can create these backgrounds. Is that you have to have the no process. You have to name them because for Rise to not resize like the quality of the image.
Ah, interesting. I did not know that. That's fantastic insight.
So
I will try find that video, people, and put it in the resources, and any of the resources that Teresa is mentioning, they should be in the description of this video as well. So things like the future me, that podcast that was mentioned.
So I don't know what else can I show? It's a flashcard grid. I mean, people know the tools in Rise. I think pretty much maybe the message is more about what you can use with some with some tricks, so to speak, you can create more more of an ambient, like more of an atmosphere to your course. And it doesn't have to be always this white background and like this, but you have to you can make a little more. And as I said, like sometimes you can just use white space and present an image that can that delivers a concept, because people are intelligent. Like people can, your user is going to get the message if you deliver it right, like you don't have to worry. So if they see, okay, it seems like kind of chaotic, right? Like it seems kind of people are moving there, so okay, maybe we need some quietness, and so the image is also part of the message.
That's brilliant.
And the narrative.
You mentioned around you like consider some of the visual design foundation things. So white space, you've mentioned that sort of stuff. Are there any other ones that you think people should pay attention to that may not have like a design background or are not aware of design principles?
Well, I think also the way you work with fonts, and like I'm gonna go back to the previous part just to well, of course, like use bold to highlight things. Like be aware of be aware of color contrast. Like here, for example, if I put this black font with a yellow background, it's not readable, right? Like it's not accessible enough. So if I added this white background, which is also part of the design, but it has also a function because it makes the text readable again. So I think if you want to start playing around with colorful backgrounds in Rise or in any other thing you are creating, be aware of color contrast. And there are tools as well. I always use this color checker.
Is it the web aim one?
Checker?
Yeah.
Yes, that one. And I think Colors had also one. And just to make sure that I am meeting at least the minimal accessible standards, and that my text is readable, because you can read it, but it doesn't mean that everybody can. So
and even how like different screens present colors differently, or when you're outside with sunglasses on, sometimes you can't see what's on your phone, so it helps with things like that as well.
Yes,
I noticed. Oh yeah, you go. Sorry.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say some of the other things that I picked up that you've done well with the font and text is you have, although you've got a couple of different fonts going, you literally, I think there is only 2 that are different, and I think you're not supposed to go beyond 3, but 2 is probably the ideal, like in terms of a font family, choosing that. You've used color to highlight like key words that you want to stand out, and you've also used different sizing of text. So for example, different hierarchy. If something is a heading, it is slightly bigger, like only slightly, but it's still like, oh, your thoughts, and it's like, oh, I should pay attention to that. And then you had like an image where it was like grab a coffee. It's kind of like, it's important, but it's not as important. So I think choosing how you present content in that way can be very helpful as well. And even how you've got you've got references throughout. It's important to reference, but it's not the main thing you want someone to focus on, so you can make it a lighter color as long as you can still read it, or making it smaller than the content that is important. So there's some of the other visual things that I picked up on in your design.
Yes, and of course, like the combination, like which colors match good together.
How did you pick them? I think that is a challenge.
I always go, I like color psychology. So for this example, I really went to the books and read like what because blue is a more formal color, like it's meant to or it's meant to mean like formality and professionalism and so on, and that is something I want. It's part of my message, like people have to be professional enough to debate, to discuss, right? And on the other side, yellow is.
Can you hold on before you say what yellow is? I want people to reflect on how they receive yellow. So think about what yellow means to you, and when you've seen the yellow in this course, what is it? Okay, now Teresa, you can give us what it actually means. I want people to see if it aligns.
Yeah, so on yellow, like, I mean, color psychology is like crazy because sometimes things are kind of contradicting, right? Because on one side, yellow is like, hey, pay attention. Yeah. Right, it is a color to pay attention. So hey, pay attention. It is the color also for all the signs, like for the danger and so. And it is like, for me, it was like, hey, pay attention. Here is danger. Debate, like bad debate culture is bad for you. But on the other side, yellow is a positive color. You know, it's like energy and positivism and yeah. So I chose gray just as a standard color, you know, like like a quiet color, like you use white or black, like to bring some how do you say, like to bring some quietness to after a yellow display. But yeah, for me it was like a good combination. I went to with this color, and then I always use there are also different tools, like for example with colors or Adobe color also have this wheel, right? So you can always see if these are complementary colors or if they match good together or not. So but I think
I was just going to say, do you mind bringing up either Coolers or Adobe colors so people can just see what you're referring to there?
Yes.
Please.
I'm gonna open. I'm gonna go to the.
Because not all shades of for example, pink and green go together. So tools like this can help you identify what shade does go.
Okay, so I think so here you have, right, the it depends on what you want to reach, but it is also a good help to know which kind of colors match together. And then what is always good is like nature or architecture or photography always have a good source of inspiration, because things are going to work good together. So you can upload a photo and see what colors are playing there, so you can use them as well. And here you have also this accessibility tool, so you can, for example, here you can see it might look nice, but it is not accessible because the contrast ratio, I think it is 5 or 4.5, the minimal you have to have. So it can work if you are using big headings and something, but not for body text, for example. So these things are very useful. Just before going and building something, make sure you have I can show you, make sure you have a style guide. I don't know if people do that, but I love.
It's really, really useful. Thank you, Teresa. It's amazing. Have you got one for your project?
Yes.
Show me. If you have it handy, show us.
Sorry, can you see that I have a...
We're still looking at the color that you like, your internet window.
Okay, I think I have to stop sharing and just try to share again.
Cool. So excited.
Can you see it now?
Yes, I can. I love this.
Because again, like, this is a portfolio piece, but for me, it was important to go through the whole process. So I have my storyboard and I have the style guide. And because if you have figured this out and you have set this for you, then it's going to be way more easier when you start developing and you know, because otherwise you have to struggle and try to stick to it because you have made the work, right? Like you have spent time thinking about it and figuring out what you want to reach, but then try to stick to it and don't get distracted by wanting to add more things and more colors. And so you have to constrain yourself in order to be creative, right? And to just focus. So I will say, if you haven't, and here you see, like I have 2 fonts, and I think that's like the max. Yeah, like the max. But I have heard a lot in the last time that even one family is enough, and try to choose a family with a lot of styles.
And by styles, what she's referring to there is like simplest form, italic, regular, bold, but then sometimes it's like thin italic, or it's like wide italic. So that's what we're referring to there, to have more options within the same font family.
So
that's cool. Oh, I'm so proud of the effort that you have gone to, and it really shows through in the project that you've created.
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to see something else, but I think I hope I have been not talking too much.
Oh, it is all need to know, not just nice to know. So it's all very intentional and adding value. What else do I have? I'm just looking at my questions as you're talking, making sure I've ticked off and followed up with the things. Oh, the last question that I would like to ask that I think is important. You mentioned that you do quite a lot of learning, like you're out there researching all that kind of stuff. What does your learning look like in a week? Like, how are you prioritizing it? Because I don't think everyone does, but I believe what you've shown today demonstrates the importance of prioritizing your own professional development. So what does that look like for you? How are you prioritizing it amongst work and family and just being a human being?
You mean now, like for my own learning development?
Yeah.
The good point. Like, there's a lot. Like, you can learn the whole time, right? I think this profession is really a learning profession. But I think it is important to be intentional. You have to be intentional. You have to know that you can do anything, as everything at once. Like I will say, for me, like for example, for this year, I decided to focus on some topics and just stick to these topics. And I've like just choose one thing. Like for example, someone share a list of podcasts, like I don't know, like 90, I don't know, like about L&D, like a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
And I just decided to stick to this one. Like for me now, because I want to learn more about how marketing, how you can approach learning through the marketing lens.
Yeah.
And so I decided just to stick to this one. Like for this few months, I just want to listen to this podcast. Even I get different recommendations. Like I just want to stick to it. And I know there are a lot of learning offerings at the beginning of the year, and a lot of free, really interesting free stuff. But I also decided just to focus on topics that are like prioritized, like what is, like for example, what have you done last year that has brought you results? Okay, then it's okay. It has already brought you results. Like for example, I don't know, getting better at an authoring tool. But now, like, okay, I can keep on, like, you know, you can dive deep enough. But for me, it is like, okay, I've done my work here, and now I want to focus on it, on something different. And yeah, and I try to manage my time to say, okay, if I want to read this book, I have to set some time in the evening, you know, when I have the time with family, work is done, and just choose like even 10-15 minutes is better than no minutes. So don't think about, like everyone says, like small steps are also steps. So, you know,
absolutely.
I try to see it like that. Like, okay, if I just read for 10 minutes because I want to read about something, then reading this 10 minutes now, it's better than not reading at all because I want to have 1 hour, you know. Like if I don't have an hour, then I'm not gonna read. Like, just
you got 10 minutes. Some sort of goal for yourself, and your learning is connected to that, which makes it sounds like it makes you prioritize it, which is really cool.
Yes, and because as I said, I think if you are trying to reach the big goals, it's going to be, maybe you are losing time, right? Like you could go further with small steps.
I like it. Yeah, momentum, always in the right direction. Another question that's come up, I think people are going to love if you're able to provide how long it took you to create this piece of work. So I want to break down that. My understanding is there's an instructional design component, there's a look and feel, like coming up with the branding, and then there's the development. So roughly, can you provide hours or a percentage of ratio breakdown?
I would say I have like definitely 1 week of just making the whole instructional design process. And I didn't work full time for this because it was a personal project. But if you take this week, like I will say an average of 4 hours a day. So then the look and feel was way more easier because it is something that I find I love that, and it's a lot of fun for me. So I think it was very fast. Like I don't know, I invested maybe 3 hours just like trying to figure it out, and then you have to take the time you need to edit the images, which is also I don't know. It's difficult because it's been a long time since I made it, and then the development was also very, very fast. I think the most time was, of course, the instructional design part of it, because you are setting the foundation, and then the once you have all you need, the development was very fast. I will say I need maybe a day just to I needed a day to create everything in Rise.
Yeah.
Once I had all the resources. Yeah,
that's cool. I think that it's interesting. What you have created is a polished product that could be delivered to a client, could be sold to someone. I know that's not your intention, but I want to say that the quality of what you've created could be produced as a client or stakeholder project. And your timeframes are actually very similar to what I would have us do in our team to achieve the same thing. So I think it's a very realistic reflection of doing something like that. I would have said a week for the ID as well. I'd probably take about 5 hours with the look and feel. I struggle a little bit myself with it sometimes. Articulating, I'm like, that's amazing, but it's like getting it to be that in my version takes me a little bit longer, and maybe like a day or two to develop it in Rise. So just to help people kind of put that into perspective. And then the other thing is, like, if this was a project, you've got to have feedback rounds. So remember there's time to implement feedback, and that it just might help people schedule a project like this in future. So thank you. Last question. You mentioned around you have other things to show. Do you want to show them quickly, or shall we have you back for another episode in the future?
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I can, sure, maybe just
quickly skim through,
skim through it, and people can, of course, go to the portfolio and play around with all the things. So let me see if
I'll put a portfolio in the description, everyone, as well, because I know you're all going to be wanting it.
Can you see it?
Yeah, thank you. So we're looking at
Yeah.
my work
So
right now.
My portfolio is learningdesignerin.com, because I live in Switzerland.
Oh, cool.
And I speak German, and Teresa Moreno is also a common name. It was impossible to get my own domain, but well, that's it. Maybe we go to the homepage.
That's cool.
Yeah, so as you see, I have 3 projects. And the other 2 projects, one is an interactive story called Speak or Sing, and it helps young female professionals to develop assertive communication skills. And the second one is called Speak to Succeed. So you see, I am a former
have a theme.
language teacher and a former intercultural communication trainer. So communication and speak, those are my topics. But this one is for people. I aim to help people to overcome their fears of speaking English at work. And this is a very, very personal project, because I am not a native speaker, and I have learned to overcome my own fears. I think like 1 year ago or 2, I would have said I would have said no, just because of my fears. I couldn't talk to you.
Yeah.
Because I would have a lot of self-awareness, and yeah. So this here, if you go through the process, you see the whole case study, and this is like a comic style project, and also well, you see again all the visual design behind it. Like, also a very important helpful tip is, if you can, start with a mood board. Like, just go and see what is outside, and like try to find inspiration. And for the title image of this project, I got inspired by this series with female power, And so that I created, like if you see the title slide and see the mood board, you can identify like what inspired me to create that combination of both. And here's again. Yeah, so it is also, it's more like really a story where you always have to make a decision in order to come further, and yeah, you can experience the project there. And the other one, Speak to Succeed, this is different, also a different visual design. This is, here I work with realistic photography, imagery, and with the concept of glitch as being an error, and like people feel they are they have errors, like their English is full of errors and it's glitchy, and so you have to overcome this glitch.
Wow.
And again, you have like a situation, and you can see the iterations in Adobe XD, and you have to make decisions, and decisions show consequences. And then you see, for example, here the image is not glitchy, you made the right decision.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God,
and at
this
the
is
end
fantastic. This is honestly fantastic. I am like so inspired.
Yeah, so thank you for the opportunity to show my work and show my projects, because as I said, these are very personal projects, with, of course, a foundation in the instructional design process, and there's a process behind of this, and there's an audience behind of this, but these projects are created for myself, so to speak, like and to try to share my message with people in general. And then, of course, I'm always happy to share my how-tos and so with the learning experience community as well. So thank you very much for the opportunity, Kim.
Oh my God, it's honestly an honor and a pleasure to have you. That, like, I'm genuinely so inspired. I have a project myself to work on, and I'm going to be brainstorming ideas, and you have sparked some inspiration. I look forward to exploring them. For my own projects, it's a big inspiration. Thank you for taking the time. I would really love people to reach out and say thank you to you when they watch this episode on LinkedIn, and just share the impact, because you are adding a lot of value through the work that you're doing. And I know this will inspire. So I think it's always nice for people like you to receive the impact and hear. So please, I encourage you to just say that. And also I'd like to say thank you for participating in this conversation in English, because I know it isn't your first language. So thank you for doing that, because otherwise we wouldn't be exposed to this amazing work. So you rock. This has been
thank you. Yeah, as I said, many people inspire me through my process as well. So I have to big shout out to Amanda and you and Kat, of course, and because the learning conference was also a big opportunity, and who is in Australia as well. Like, I've been inspired by a lot of people, and I think it's like it has to be an ecosystem, right? It has to be like
this is fabulous. You are fabulous. Your work is fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing it with the world. I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
All good. Thank you everyone for watching. Make sure you share love to Teresa. It's just, she needs to know how good her work is, and share this episode so that it does inspire people to create better training solutions, better ID solutions, and then we'll make the world a better place. What's up, awesome human? Thank you on behalf of myself and the Belvista Studios team for continuously choosing to learn with us. We really appreciate it.
If the tips and the insights and the context resonate with you and you want to take your skills to the next level, or you want to make your life way easier, you will love our Creator Hub. The Creator Hub is a place for people like you and us. Basically, it's the stuff that we use internally at Belvista Studios, and then we just share it publicly with you. The Creator Hub is created by instructional designers for instructional designers, and what you'll love there at the moment is we've got a quiz, Could I Be a Better Instructional Designer, that has so much tips in the feedback if you're interested in human-centered design or just taking your skills to the next level in terms of the solutions you're creating and the problems you want to solve. But in there as well, aren't we cute? That's us. But we've got the coaching courses, freebies, give us gratitude, and also we've got some templates. And basically they're always around the lens of learning experience design, instructional design, and e-learning. So a human-centered design focus is very much what we're about at Belvista Studios. So putting your learners at the heart of a solution and creating something for their needs. So there's the human-centered design stuff, and then we've also got the business stuff. So this is the stuff they don't teach you about when you want to become a freelancer or a consultant in the instructional design world. So go check it out. The link is in the description. You can check out everything that is available for you. Thank you for choosing to learn with us. Continuously invest in your skills. You will be rewarded as an instructional designer. Share this stuff, share it with other people, because when we are better instructional designers, we create better solutions that create better humans, that create a better world. So we have a very important role, and I'm excited to be on this journey with you. Have an awesome day.